Today, I'm sharing a real case study from my practice that shows what corporate immigration really looks like when it's done strategically and when a business needs to move people across the Canadian-US border without disruption. I'm Evelyn Ackah from Ackah Business Immigration Law. This case study is about one of my favorite corporate clients, Garth. He's the president and CEO of Pacific East Research, based in British Columbia, with operations in the United States. Pacific East is a data management company. They help corporations access accurate, contact, and identify information, and they support fraud prevention across industries like healthcare, government, law enforcement, and not-for-profits. Now, here's where the immigration story begins. Garth had already set up a U.S. company in 2009. For years, he traveled back and forth for meetings and operations to get started. Then in 2012, everything changed. He was crossing the border to catch a flight out of Seattle for a business meeting. A U.S. border official pulled him aside and said what was supposed to be a routine entry turned into hours of questioning. Fingerprints were taken, paperwork was completed, and a hard stop occurred. At the end of it all, he was told, "You are not allowed to enter the U.S. for business purposes again until you have a work visa." Garth tried to explain he was traveling for business meetings and that he wasn't actually working in the U.S. and NAFTA allowed business activities like business meetings. However, the officer's view was different. They told him that as CEO, his presence in business activities counted as work, and they said he was taking an American job. So Garth was turned around and sent back to Canada. This is one of the biggest lessons for business owners and executives. Border decisions can be unpredictable and the consequences are real. Garth then spent the next year preparing a work visa application on his own. He put together a large package of documentation and applied through the airport process for an L1A visa. He also learned something very important. Airports often have more experienced officers dealing with professional business travelers and visa processing than the borders at the land crossings. For many business visas, airports can be a smoother entry point than land borders, depending on the application type and the situation. Fast forward a few years, Garth had built U.S. operations and had a team. He had used the L1 visas for multiple team members, but when the time limit started approaching, he needed a long-term strategy. That's when he found us at Ackah Business Immigration Law. He researched heavily, listened to content, and made a decision based on one key thing. He wanted a legal team that could educate him, guide the strategy, and support a business that needed consistency across the border. We worked with Garth and a trusted U.S. attorney partner to apply for an e-visa strategy that would allow him and his team to enter the U.S. properly for business and not have trouble at the border. One challenge at the time was that consular delays were very extensive. The appointment wait times were very long, especially during the pandemic. Garth's interview was in Toronto and it took months to get the appointment. But when the interview finally happened, something powerful occurred. The file was so well prepared that the consular official had very few questions. Garth brought back supporting documents anyway, just in case for the interview, but the application spoke for itself. He was approved, and that approval became an anchor for the business as it expanded further into the United States. From that point onward, team members in Vancouver, Calgary, and other locations could use the same structure, go to their local U.S. consulate, and get their visas properly with confidence. We also supported a green card sponsorship for one of the U.S. employees, which is another example of how corporate immigration is not just one visa. It's an ongoing strategy that supports the business long term. Here's the takeaway. Corporate immigration is not just forms. It's risk management. It's business continuity. It's making sure executives and key staff can travel, attend trade shows, manage offices, and close deals without being stopped at the border. Garth also made a great point about something people forget. How you treat border officers really matters. Be clear, be consistent, be respectful, answer what is asked. Do not guess and do not overshare. For frequent travelers, he also mentioned how helpful the Nexus Pass can be once you already have the proper visa or status, because it can dramatically reduce border wait times for business travel. So, if you are a business owner, HR leader, or executive who needs cross-border mobility, here's what I want you to remember. If your business depends on cross-border travel, you need a plan. You do not want the border to be the thing that stops your growth. At Ackah Law, we help corporate clients build practical immigration strategies, coordinate with trusted U.S. counsel where needed, and we protect your team's ability to move cross borders. If you want to understand what options exist for your company, book a consultation with our team today. And if you found this helpful, please share it with the business owner who travels often. Thank you so much for watching.